Hello, and welcome to James the Lesser Express Lane, where we get you in and out as fast as possible with. Just got back from watching Barbenheimer. First Barbie, then Oppenheimer. I had to say, Barbie surprised me. Why? After many, many years of watching movies, TV shows, reading books, whatever, I can usually predict how a movie ends. Like, it doesn't take a lot for me to be able to go, she says this, he does that, then this happens, and then that's how the movie ends. Barbie didn't do that. I had no idea where the freak they were going with this movie. Like, okay, she starts wondering about death and starts changing, and her feet are flat, and it's just very weird for her. So her and Ken go to the real world. Now, in Barbie Land, Barbie's a doctor, Barbie's a president, Barbie's a Supreme Court, Barbie's a pilot, Barbie's an astronaut, so forth. Ken is beach. Not lifeguard, not surfer, beach. So when they go to the real world where, women are doctors and prime ministers and astronauts, but the men are also doctors, prime ministers, astronauts, pilots, doctors, whatever. It's a whole new world for Ken. And Ken freaks out. He doesn't know what to do. Well, while Barbie's doing other things in the real world, Ken goes back. Ken decides, you know what? I'm going back to Barbie Land and I'm going to spread the word of what it's like in the real world. Where women are doctors and prime ministers and astronauts and pilots and surgeons and construction workers and everything else, but so are the men. Now, this movie is actually PG-13. I kind of forgot about that. I forgot the movie was PG-13. So, when certain jokes and lines are in it, it's like, oh, that's right, PG-13. Like, wow, the houses are so dreamy. But yeah, they're dream houses, mother. Now, they mute it and they had the Mattel logo appear over her face. So you don't actually hear it, but I thought it was pretty funny. Like, ah. And a theater was a lot more packed at 3 o'clock or 3:30, whatever time I went to. It was a lot more packed than I thought it was going to be for a Thursday at 3:30. Like, there was a lot of people there. And there's a lot of people laughing. Being PG-13, there was a couple of jokes where it's like, oh, if you brought a 7-year-old, like, mommy, I love Barbie. Brought a 7-year-old with you, you may not have been happy about it. But, except for no 2 or 3 lines or jokes, whatever, movie was just fine. Yes, PG-13, so you had a couple things, but for the most part, you and your kids would have been just fine watching it. Now, I don't want to give spoilers because I'm not going to do that, but I have to say, it was entertaining. I laughed. The theater laughed. I just 100% did not know where they're going with things. I was just like, okay, well, what's going to happen next? Normally, I would know by now what's going to happen next, and I had no idea. The cast is also pretty dang good. Between Will Ferrell, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and all the others, like Michael Cera, it was pretty good. So I guess with that, I'll just say, go see it. Word of warning, if you have you're gonna bring your 7, 8-year-old to go see it because they like Barbie. Yes, there's a couple jokes and lines that not age appropriate for a 7 or 8-year-old, but that's why it's PG-13. And next, Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, 3 hours long, rated R. And it's like, all right, well, there's gonna be language, there's probably gonna be violence. One thing I was not expecting was the random ass nudity. Female only, topless, no male, sorry. All the people thought it was gonna be Cillian Murphy showing off. It was female nudity. And the one scene was just I don't know why it was in the movie. They could have completely cut it out. It would have been the exact same movie. And then the next couple scenes where there's nudity, it's like, okay, why the is she nude? So they can justify the rated R. I, I did not get the random ass nudity in the movie. One thing I did not know about Oppenheimer, dude was a dog. He could not keep his dick in his pants. Which, again, I had no idea about. I had no idea the dude just could not keep it in his pants to save his life. In this case, his career. Because it doesn't just follow him during the Trinity Project. It follows before, during, and after. Before, okay, he's super smart. He goes overseas. He meets all these famous people. Comes back to America. He's teaching. When the military shows up. Like, hey, we need to work on a project and you're the guy. Like, if we're going to have someone on this project, you're the guy. Like, alright, well, I need these people and there's this person. Can we get this guy? He's currently in the Netherlands. Oh, well, until we get boots on the ground, we're not going to be able to do that. Alright, well, if you guys ever do get boots on the ground and get this guy out of there, get him over here. He'll be able to help. And then, during. Oh, do we do fusion? Do we do fission? Do we do implosion? Do we do explosion? How the hell are we going to do this? Hey, buddy, I was doing some of the calculations, and, we might set the atmosphere on fire. What? Well, see, it's a chain reaction. And hopefully, the chain reaction sticks to the plutonium or uranium that we use. If it doesn't, and it continues to spread, it could ignite the atmosphere, destroying all life on the planet. Oh. Well, we'll keep doing the calculations on that, because if that is going to be an issue, we might want to send that to the Nazis, because the Nazis work on the bomb too. And if the Nazis don't figure out, hey, we might accidentally set the world on fire and destroy everything, they might not, know about this. So, if this is going to be an issue, we might want to send to them, just let them know, like, hey, stop testing on this shit because you're going to destroy the entire fucking planet. One thing that everyone was hyping about was, oh, I can't wait for the explosion. Oh, they did this with the explosion. They didn't use CGI. They went out to the middle of the desert and blew this up, and it was, So I've been waiting along with the rest of the theater. And maybe a 30-second scene with 10 seconds of the bomb and 20 seconds on the scientists watching it. I didn't get that thinking, I guess. You're going to hype up this big explosion, you're going to hype up the bomb, and then they don't show the explosion. Right flash, cut to Oppenheimer and the other scientists. Then a little bit of the explosion, and then cut back to Oppenheimer and the scientists. And then back to a little bit of the explosion. And then it goes back to scientists. And that's what they did. It's like, well, what the hell? Why would you do it like this? Why wouldn't you show the fucking explosion? Like, people have been hyping this online. It's like, oh, you're gonna see an IMAX, it's gonna blow you away. And it's like, well, I saw it in XD, not IMAX, because I'm not driving an extra hour to go see it, but I could not believe that, all to say for the explosion was maybe 10 seconds out of a 30-second scene, with the rest of the stuff being focused on scientists watching the explosion. It's like, bitch, I want to watch the explosion too! Show the explosion! And then, after that, they show, like, oh, hey, bombs are dropped, this is going on. And during the movie, it's like, all right, it's black and white with Robert Downey Jr.'s character and talking about his work with whatever organization and how he worked with Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer got screwed on this committee and lost his, clearance. But then it goes to, well, like, not modern times, but like, all right, it's 1954, black and white. Then it cuts back to 1936, Then it goes back to 1954 in black and white. Then it goes back to 1939. Then it goes back to 1954 black and white. Then it goes back to 1940. One thing I didn't like with the time jumps is, all right, it's black and white, so you know you're in this scene, in this year. Like, well, we were just in 1936. He's talking to these people. And then you go to black and white. Then you go back and it's like, oh, he's on a train. Is he just leaving the university he was just at for a conference? No, no, no. It turns out it was like 2 years later. It's like, well, you might want to tell us, like, hey, 2 years later, after the last scene he was in, talking to whatever professor all overseas. Like, all right, you guys are gonna do time jumps like that. It's gonna make it a little hard to keep track of shit. But another thing I didn't know about was, oh, well, you spoke to a communist in 1936. Oh, well, your ex-wife was a card-carrying member of the Communist Party until 1934. Oh, well, your brother and his wife went to a party where there's a bunch of communists at. Are you a commie? What? No, I'm an American. I'm the most famous American. I created the bomb. I ended the war. Well, you pissed off some people, so now we're going to call you a commie and take your clearance. Like, I did not know about that. So, should you see this movie? Again, it's 3 hours, so make sure you go to the bathroom beforehand. Get a drink. Make it a large. You're going to need it. Be ready for some random ass female nudity, which, again, like the one scene was just, I don't know why I was in it. And then the other is like, she didn't need to be naked. I don't know why, unless they're trying to justify the rated R rating. But it was very informative, especially the stuff before and after the Trinity Project, because, like, hey, I like nuclear stuff. I've looked into the Trinity Project. I knew what it was about. And it's like, hey, what if we just recorded this and then sent the footage over to Japan? Like, hey, we have this bomb that, harnesses the power of the sun. If you don't surrender, we're going to start dropping it on you. Or, no, another thing they thought of was like, hey, we're going to warn them, like, before we drop the bomb, so they get civilians out, and then we'll destroy the factory that we're targeting. Yeah, but what if we drop it, and it's a dud? We warn them, hey, we're going to drop a bomb that wipes out entire cities with one go, and then we drop it, and it doesn't go off. Or they go nuts with the anti-air defense and actually shoot down the B-52, and hey, we're fucked. So, yeah. They showed a lot of stuff I didn't know about. They showed some stuff I knew about, like, worrying about setting off the atmosphere and all that. And, yeah, it may have been better in IMAX than in XD or standard, but I'm not making that extra drive. If you have an IMAX theater near you, definitely see it in IMAX. If you don't, don't really worry about it, just saying. But both movies are definitely worth watching. Both movies were very entertaining. One, entertaining because of this reason, one entertaining because of that reason. Yeah, I think you should go check them out. And as always, like, subscribe, comment down below, and have one hell of a day.